Hi everybody. Welcome to LIS 691, the Practicum. I'm Nora Bird and I will be teaching this class this semester. It's kind of an unusual class, as you probably will see. There is no set syllabus, and each one of you have individual learning goals for the semester. But the point is to work through these through your individual practicums with kind of a general set of assignments that can help you process your learning and get you ready for the next step. So today, I just want to talk a little bit about goals versus objectives. Then we're going to talk about SMART objectives, sometimes called SMART goals. And then we're going to talk about well-structured blog posts that can really help you process your learning. So, in the literature on goal setting and creating objectives to reach those goals, the two words goals and objectives are rather confusing. I've been looking at management literature for years and looked at some stuff for this particular presentation, and once again, I was confused. So I'm going to use my own language so that I at least can be straight. So for me, goals are broad and objectives are the building blocks of those goals. This is the definition that we will try to stick with in class. But some resources that we will look at will confuse the language. Just try to remember broad is goals and narrow and step by step are objectives. So you have some very broad goals that you have created with your site supervisor. Here's an example of one. Learn how to manage a public library collection. So what are some objectives that will help you do that? And you'll notice that objectives are, first of all, more specific. And there are two of three of them here. Okay. But, not but, so here are these three different objectives. So we're just going to focus in on objective one. Find out what sources are used by the YA subject specialist in the library you're working for to find new YA books, young adult books. Okay? So we're going to look at those objectives and make them SMART. We're going to make it specific. We're going to make it measurable. We're going to make it attainable, which means you can finish it. We're going to make it relevant to the overall goal, the big broad goal of learning about collection management. And we're going to make it time bound. We're going to give a specific amount of time for you to achieve that objective. So the big overarching goal is find out, not the overarching goal, sorry. The objective one, the first objective is find out what sources are used by the YA subject specialist to find new YA books. Okay? Be specific. Who is the YA subject specialist? What exactly are you going to ask them? And well, we'll get to when in a minute. Find out when they work and make an appointment. So that's a measurable objective. When do they work? Make an appointment. Keep that appointment. Find out what sources they use. Very measurable. You have go from zero to some sources. But are there others that that particular YA specialist doesn't know about? Well, how are you going to find out those? And so that gives this sort of sub objective of possibly looking at young adult librarian blogs, other kinds of objectives, but keep those out for now. It's just something that you want to keep in the background to create new objectives to reach your overarching goal. Okay, so back to our SMART. Okay, it's specific, it's measurable. What's the attainable outcome? Well, it's going to be possibly a list. How are you going to keep track of that list? That makes it attainable and adds to the possibility of measurement. So you're writing down, how am I going to keep track of that list? Are you going to do a Google Doc? Are you going to do a LibGuide like thing? Are you going to create a Zotero list? How are you going to keep track of that list? You want the objective to be relevant. Well, of course, this is relevant to your overarching goal of the public library's collection because the YA collection is only one part of it. And you want to put a time on it. So, are you going to do this the first week that you're there, the second week, the third week, by the first end of the first month? You set that time goal. Now, you only have 12 to 14 weeks. So, some things you're going to need to accomplish before you can do other things. So, you want to make that time bound portion relevant to your other goals. So, so when you do this exercise, when you smartify the objective, one objective to reach one of your goals, then you need to figure out which one of the goals needs to be done before other goals can be reached. So this is what I would like you to do for one of your goals for the practicum. Break it down into SMART objectives. You should have 2 to 3 objectives for that one goal. Okay? The other major assignment in this class is to keep a blog. I want your blog postings to be done using this model. It's DEAL, which is the D stands for describe, the E stands for examine, and the AL stands for articulate learning. Describe the facts of something that happened during your work at the library. Examine experiences from your personal perspective. And I'll give you an example of these in a minute. Articulate learning. What did you learn or what do you want to learn? Do you need to do some research, i.e., what do other places do about that issue? So here's an example. The blog post might start, yesterday I helped a student find the genealogy section. That's the describe. Experience. it made me feel good that I could explain where it was, but I forgot to do a reference interview. That made me feel a little bit inadequate. Articulate learning. I reviewed the reference interview steps from my LIS 620 textbook and I reminded myself what I could do next time. Here are the 3 things that I could do. You can do this for more than one incident per week if you want, but you need to have at least one posting per week. What's the point of doing this? Why use this model to write your postings? Because using the model, fitting that what happens to you into that model will make yourself aware of what you are feeling, what you know and what you don't know, and what you still need to learn and where you need to learn it. Maybe you have to go back to your supervisor with a question like, oh, what how much time should I be taking with patrons? Is it okay to do a reference interview every single time that I work with a patron? Or is it better just to point at something? I think they'll tell you, if they're good reference people, that taking the time to go through those steps of a reference interview makes that interaction more efficient for the patron, even though it might take a little extra time. So have fun with your practicums, and here's my contact information if you need me for anything. We will definitely be meeting each other in a few weeks as a group, but if we need to meet before that, don't hesitate to contact me. Take care, and I look forward to hearing about your practicums as you go through this semester.